So for the split stance squats, we're primarily going to use our hamstrings, our quads, our calves as well, and our core for stabilization and support. So what she's going to do, she's going to step back with her right foot, and she's going to go into a squat, making sure that both of her toes are facing forward. Her knee is not touching the ground, it's almost hovering. There's a 90-degree angle in her left knee as well as her right knee, and she's going to come up, and she's going to go back down, making sure her hands are to her side. She has that neutral spine, which means it's upright and maintained, and she's looking forward. Come up. So for the single leg stance, we're going to do a single leg squat. The primary muscles that we're going to use are our quadriceps, our hamstrings, our calves, our gluteus maximus, as well as our core for stabilization and support. So what I'm going to have her do is she's going to put her hands on her hip, and she's going to maintain that upright neutral spine. Her face is going to be looking forward, and she's going to go ahead and go down into a single leg squat by lifting the right leg up. And she's going to go down and bend and come back up. Common errors that you will find is her foot might go out, so you want to make sure that it's facing forward. Her knee might cave in, causing a knee valgus, so you want to make sure that by tightening your gluteus maximus, it's going to strengthen it and it's going to allow your knee to move back to its neutral position, as well as the imbalance in the hips, meaning her right or her left hip might perk up, so maintaining that neutral hip complex is important. So for the side, she's going to go ahead and go down into the squat again, and as you can see, she's maintaining that neutral spine and she's facing forward. And that is the neutral single leg squat. Okay. So for the next category is a horizontal push, and I'm going to do an alternative to a bench press. I'm going to do a seated bench press. So what we're going to use are resistance bands, and she's going to have that upright posture, and she's going to keep her eyes on that vertical target, which is basically keeping your eyes on a fixed point. She's going to have her shoulders depressed, which means she's going to push them down and back. The primary muscles that we're going to be focusing on are our biceps, our triceps, our pectoralis major, our pectoralis minor, as well as our abs for stabilization and support. So what she's going to do is have her elbows tucked in, and she's going to go ahead and push out and then come back in. And she's going to keep doing those. And you want to maintain strong wrists and a strong grip as well. Common problems that we will see is shrugging-ness of the shoulders or elevation of the shoulders. So it's just basically wanting to push them down and back is key, as well as maintaining the upright posture at all times. And that's the seated bench press. For the core category, we're going to go ahead and do leg raises. So basically what she's going to do, she's going to lay supine, which is basically on her back. She can either have her hands placed beside her or tucked underneath her butt. Her legs are going to be fully extended and close together at all times. She wants to make sure that her elbows are pushed back into press. So you want them as close to the ground as you possibly can. And what she's going to do is basically just raise her lower body up while contracting the transverse abdominal muscles, which are your deepest muscles in your stomach, and back down, but not touching the ground at all. Coming up and back down. Most common problems that we're going to see are from the shoulders, as well as people trying to arch their back while they're pushing up. So you want to make sure that you're trying to keep that flat back at all times. And that's the leg raise. So for the squat stance category, we're going to do the high bar back squat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position this bar. If you want to progress, you can use the actual bar itself or add on weights. So what we're going to do is we're going to position it on her upper trapezius, and she's going to hold each end. And one of the errors you can see is a lot of people tend to move their elbows back. So what you want to do is you want to push those elbows forward for support and stability. The main muscles that are going to be focused on are going to be your quadriceps, your hamstrings, as well as your core for stabilization and stability. So she's going to go ahead and turn forward, and she's going to go ahead and go down into the squat with the feet hip width apart. As you can see that her feet are facing forward and are parallel. Her knees do not go over her toes, they're right in line. And a common error that you do see is that a lot of people do knee varies, which means the knees push out, or the knees push in, causing a knee valgus. So what you want to do is you want to tighten your gluteus maximus in order to strengthen and pull them in. So she's going to come back up and turn to the side, and she's going to squat again, almost as if she was going to sit in a chair. And as you can see, she's maintaining a neutral spine, which means it's upright and vertical. She's also facing forward. A lot of common mistakes you can see are people either look up or they look excessively down. So you either want to face forward or tilt your eyes to the ground. Another common error you see is a lot of people elevate their shoulders. So in order to inhibit that, you want to depress or push down and pull them back. Also, for the lobopelvic hip complex, you can see a hip hinge, meaning that the hip flexors are being activated as well. And so she's going to come up again and squat one more time. And there you go. And that's the exercise.